Hello, welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. Our official sponsors are KR Couriers and Transport Limited. This is a Northwest based courier company delivering all across the UK. They can assist in home moves and removals to large, heavy and bulky items, collections and drop-offs. Fast, safe and reliable deliveries. Please get in touch for a free quote. You'll find all the information within the description. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the Billy Moore podcast, and today's special guest is George Wilson. Now George was a childhood star. You started in Grange Hill, played Ziggy Greaves. You started in Brookside, little Jimmy Corkhill. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how all that began.
It began, I'd say, when I was about 11, 12 at school in drama. Drama was the only subject really that I enjoyed and I was good at. So I kind of, from there, went to the Everyman Youth Theatre, got encouraged to go there by a few of the drama teachers. Crafted me trade a bit in the Everyman, learnt more. Then I got an agent. He got me the audition for Grange Hill, and I got it at 15. That's how it kind of started.
Even at 15, you looked a lot smaller, didn't you, Dan?
I was always small, yeah.
It was always good to see a Scouser on the telly back then as well, because I'm a little bit younger, not too much, but a few years. But I remember Grange Hill, and maybe some of the audience who were out there will as well, and some of them won't.
Yeah.
But I did.
It wasn't necessarily going to be a Scouser neither. They were looking just for a Northern character, because the ratings were dropping in the North. So it could have been a Scouser, a Mancunian,
a Wool,
Geordie, a Wool, you name it. They were looking all over the North.
He's glad it's not a Birkenhead. Oh no way, my name's Ziggy. No way.
Yeah, well, for some reason they went with me anyway.
Yeah. No, and you seem to have made it as well, because it became a little bit more popular as well after that, didn't it? How did all that sort of take, where did your life go after that? How did that make you feel? Because you're only a young kid, you're still at school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting recognised now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was strange, because no one can prepare you for being recognised. A few of the lads used to say to me, the likes of Johnny Alford, who'd already been on the telly, and Zammo, who'd been on it for 4 years or something. They said to me, "You're going to be starting getting recognised soon. You've got to be prepared for that. You're going to have eyes in the back of your head and this and that." But nothing really does prepare you for it. You just got to deal with that as it comes.
Yeah.
But I think 9 out of 10 people were nice. You know what I mean, and pleasant, and have a laugh with you. Obviously, you're going to get that 1% of jealousy, and you've got to deal with that when it comes. So,
did you go back to school?
We had to do a bit of schooling. I had to do a bit of schooling. Sorry, the first year I started, because I was only 15. They had tutors who come into the BBC, and I had to go to a stage school for a bit, which I didn't like, to be honest. Doing ballet and tap dancing, that wasn't really my scene, So in the end, I just used to bunk off. I didn't go. I just used to go and play pool around the corner in this little pool hall where the school was.
So you spent, 4 years on there as well, didn't you?
4 years. Best 4 years of my life, I'll be honest. I think they were the best 4 years of my life. And when I look back, it had everything you can think of.
Was the money good as well?
For my age, yeah, for 15, 16, I had all my mates were working in garages or postmen. I just had more money than a kid needed.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I remember a few characters, I remember Zammo and Rowley.
Yeah. Well, Zammo went massive when the drugs campaign come around. They just say no. He was just a normal kind of cheeky kid, and all of a sudden, everyone remembers him now because of the Just Say No. We made him bigger than the show at the time.
No, it was a bit of a bad shout, that, Just Say No, because no one's ever going to say no, Hardy. So,
I know, but it was trying to get the message across.
It's there's a spliff, lads, just say no. And we used to roar off it as kids, you know what I mean? There's a spliff, just say no. Not happening.
I know
What I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the Nancy Reagan shout, wearing it, just say no. There was a few people that were saying just say no.
Yeah.
But it seems I've seen a few pictures and posters that were trying to convey a message of like, this is how bad heroin was.
Yeah.
And it came out about the time you were on that show in a big way, especially in Liverpool.
86. That's when the campaign was, because they went over to America, a lot of the cast. Well, eight of the cast, not me. They was only picking like the ambassadors of the show, so me and a few of the lads didn't go. We were a bit gutted over that one, but anyway, they all went over to the White House, met Nancy Reagan, and got involved with it all over there, and it was quite big, but as you say, the way around it probably wasn't the best way around it, just say no. It could have been a lot more powerful.
It could have been. It's like, it's cigarette packets. You get smoking can seriously damage your health, but everyone still smokes. You're seeing pictures of like, decapitated or decrepit lungs, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. They could have got hammered the message home a lot stronger. But take that aside, I think what they done in the show with Zammo worked. I think he done it really well. I got to commend him on his acting for that. Yeah. He would have been about 17 and 18 maybe tops, and he done a bit of research first. He spent a lot of time, I know he did, with drug addicts and heroin addicts, and spoke to them, and he done a lot of research, read a lot, and he I think he got it across what a kid would be like in that situation.
Where did his career go from there?
After that, he always wanted to go into boxing. Yeah, because he loved his boxing. Remember, he was on Henry Cooper's Golden Belt as a kid. I remember seeing him on that one before I met him. He was a really good boxer, but then he got involved in a really serious car crash. I think he damaged his knuckles, so he couldn't fight again, or his hand. Something happened, so that stopped his boxing career. And I know I think he popped up in a few things, but he owns his own locksmiths now in South London. Oh yeah, he's got into that game. He's got his own little place, and he just ties himself over, did that. That's
it. It's getting yourself grounded back again into society. So where did you go from Grange Hill? From
Grange Hill, well, when I left, that was the hardest time really in my life, because I've been not used to having all this money and the fame and the women and everything that come with it. It was so good for them 4 years, like I say, and then all of a sudden that's taken away from you. And eventually, obviously, after a year or two, the money did go. And I found I had to work normal jobs, which I'm not ashamed to do. I wanted to work. But other people kind of made it harder for me, because they're thinking, what's this guy off Grange Hill coming in here? So they were taking the mickey, Ziggy, everyone. And I didn't want all that. I just wanted to work and make money. I didn't want to stand out.
It must have been difficult to be getting shouts like that, Ziggy, and
yeah, it was tricky. It was tricky. Well, after so many years, I'm 50 now, and I'm not asked. I've worked in places and I still get it. I just accept it now. But at that time, I couldn't. My head was wrecked with it, and things just started to go wrong. Slowly go wrong for me, and it took 7 years for Brookside. It was a good 7 years till I come back again in '96 to do Brookside. I was in the wilderness for a long time, just literally wandering around the desert. Yeah,
that was big, wasn't it? Back in the day, Brookside, like it was.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone in Liverpool certainly, I think, watched it, didn't he?
Yeah, there was the likes of that and Bread, but I think Brookside was more of a serious take on the city. Yeah. And I remember a lot of the cast like Sinbad and Chibi Corkill and the rest of them, Terry and Gary and
yeah. Oh, you could go on with the characters, couldn't you? There were so many. They tried to mix it up, a bit of everyone, wasn't it? You could relate to everyone in that show.
There was a girl in our school a year above me that she seemed to be really good, do well in drama, and she got a part in Brookside and was in it for years. Yeah. She was with Damien.
Oh yeah, I know Damien and Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie. She played Debbie. I can't remember the name now.
I know what you mean.
Gillian. Yeah, I remember it in school, and she'd got that part, and we were all like, wow, you know, as kids.
Yeah,
because there was no kind of social media back then, so anything in the papers or on the TV, you did the big time, hadn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, I got that part in Grange Hill in the '85, and then as I say, for years afterwards, I was in, had nothing. When I got that in the '96, I think I was probably more over the moon and happy and relieved, probably more than anything, getting that part in Brookside, knowing it was a good 4 months or so playing this character of Little Jimmy. It was just a relief, because I had nothing for so many years. I was literally on my arse. I'm not afraid to say it. I had to work some horrendous jobs. I went abroad to work and everything just to get money and come home. So to get that part and knowing the first 5 days was being filmed in Marseille as well, and they were flying me on a private plane to Marseille. Lovely hotel overlooking the bay and the, whatever it was, the marina. I was just so relieved. It was just so nice, to be treated like almost like royalty again compared to what I'd had,
Yeah, so how many years did you spend on, or how long did you spend on?
Brookie?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long. It just seemed longer because they panned it out, the episodes. It was an intense 4 months playing this character. He starts off in Marseille, like I say, and then comes home. He ends up coming back. Jimmy gets him out of he's in the Foreign Legion, but I think the storyline is, and Jimmy brings him back home, Big Jimmy, and he ends up getting more and more involved with the drug scene and drug dealers, and then he's an addict himself as well, which comes out.
Yeah.
So it was all, every day I was filming literally for 4 months. So when they showed it, I think it's spilled over about 7 months maybe. So it seemed I was in longer than I was, but it's just because we filmed every day.
That's it. And sometimes the life of an actor can be either glamorous or it can be a struggle.
Yeah, feast or a famine.
Yeah,
that's a saying someone once said to me, and I think that's
you can have a feast or a famine. And I think I've been on a few sets, and it's great when they're spending their money, and they're picking you up and taking you places. I've been on sets like the Stallones, Rambo.
Yeah.
They're spending like over 100,000 a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes on scenes, and you just think how incredible it is, just to be even like part of the grips and all that stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff. They're quite lucky.
Yeah, there's so much going on. You don't know that. It's not just you doing the scene. There's about 100 or 200 people around you as well. All like clockwork.
So what happened after that? Tell us a little bit about where it went.
After Brookside?
Yeah.
Brookside, I just got on a wave of theatre, to be honest. I ended up doing, I think a pantomime was the first thing, because the guy who was originally playing the King Rat in Dick Whittington fell off the stage and broke his leg, I think, which was unfortunate for this man. But they needed someone then to step in, so I was holding. So I'd done that, and I got a bit of a buzz off this. I thought, I like this. And then another play came, and another one, and I just ended on a roll of theatre for about 10 years almost. And I even got into writing my own theatre plays and producing them and putting them on. We found out, me and a pal of mine, we were selling paintings outside the Titanic film exhibition.
Yeah.
Me and this pal. And we were reading a Titanic book, and we just stumbled on a little paragraph that these 2 Welsh boxers died on the Titanic. They were lightweight champion, one of them, Davy Bowen and Leslie Williams. Anyway, we went back to South Wales and found their families. They had nieces still alive, funny enough. And they told us their story, and then we wrote it and created other characters and whatever, bit of artistic license. Got a carpenter, to recreate the ship like it was coming in to the audience with a bit of clever lighting. It worked. And we put this on in the valleys, and that was one of my proudest moments, because nobody gave me that. That's what me and my pal Stevie actually wrote.
Yeah, brilliant.
And produced, you know what I mean, and cast. And we got a director in because it was too much to direct. But that was our baby. And we had the families of the boxers come in and watch it, and they loved it because they knew the story, but nobody else really knew it.
Yeah.
So that was ours, you know what I mean?
How long did that run for?
It was only on for about 10 days.
Yeah.
10 days in this little theatre in the valleys in Cumbraen in Wales, a little place in between Cardiff and Swansea, and that's where his families were from, both from Swansea and Cardiff. So yeah, we told that tale. So that was one of my proudest, more than probably anything.
Did you ever keep in touch with any of the cast in Brookside? Was you friendly with any of them?
Wasn't it that long enough? Like where is Grange Hill? I keep in touch with loads of the lads and girls from Grange Hill.
You still do that, yeah, today?
4 years of friendships. But so I've got more pals in there. But Brookie, only one, but I knew him before I started. Was Jay Hope, who played Rod. Yeah, he hated his character, Rod the Plod. He got called, you know.
Yeah, I remember him.
But we went to school together and the Everyman together, and we've always been pals. So he's the only one really that I keep in touch with. We meet up, you know. We might have a light ale every now and then. And the one who played his mate John as well, Tomo. He played another cop. See, the guy who played Max Pinder. His real name was Max Pinder. Sorry, he played Max Farnham, that's it. Steve Pinder. I'm totally confused. Max Farnham, he's a good fella. Do you know when we were filming in Marseille? Yeah. I remember one day all the cast were having a drink and a little bit of champagne by the side of the bay and all that. And I don't know what I was doing. Me and Jimmy Dean were filming high up in this heat. Fucking sweating I was, because I've been out the night before with all the riggers, so I had a terrible hangover. And I'm trying to do this scene. And I looked over the wall and I seen Steve Pinder, who played Max, with a young girl who had Down syndrome. Yeah. He was taken on a boat, rowing. He never told anyone, you know. He just took her out on his own, rowing up the Marseille rivers, you know. And I thought, what a nice guy, you know what I mean, to do something like that.
Do you ever remember Terry? Was it Terry Sullivan?
Yeah, I've done a play with him, the Alehouse. We done the Alehouse play. He was in that once. Yeah.
Didn't he ever was it him that got nicked for the murder? And then ended up going to jail.
He did. He didn't do the murder, I don't think.
No. There was I think he was a taxi driver. I can't remember, but I was like, he was one of my favourite characters.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked.
Yeah, and I seen him. I read in the papers that he'd been arrested as part of this murder inquiry, and the lads who got life and knew him. To be fair, so I was quite surprised that he was involved, you know, or part of it. I think he was more or less sort of just a drive in the car.
Yeah, I don't think he knew what it was the way it was all going to transpire, you know.
Yeah.
He got involved in something bigger than he thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was a shock to you as well.
It was, yeah.
Well, hopefully he's out now and he's doing okay. Pretty sure he is. So your life, I've read a few things about, you know, how you've had a few ups and downs over the years.
Yeah.
You know, you've had a bit of, was it bipolar? You've been diagnosed with bipolar. You went to Hillsborough in 1989 as well. That kind of had a mad effect on you.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, please, George, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, I went like with a few of my pals. We all went. We were all dotted about, and the lad I went with, luckily, had been there the year before in the Leppins Lane, so he didn't want to go in the Leppins Lane. He said, "I want to sit down for this, you know, because of what happened last year." So thankfully, we were sitting down. We weren't in that Leppins Lane, but I did actually see, obviously, everything, you know, unfold in front of me. So, and everyone was affected, I think, who was ever there that day. But it affects people in different ways, and the way it affected me was none of us really, I know anyway, spoke about it. We never actually spoke about what we seen and how we felt. And it kind of built up with me then, and I started dreaming about it and having nightmares about it. And that's when I went in hospital, was in the 91, which was a few years after, 2-3 years after. And that had a big effect. I remember vividly, before I went into hospital, I was having these illusions, and Hillsborough was a big one, that I'm in that crowd, because that was always, I still can't get in the lift now if it's busy. And if there's a crowd of people, I'll always go on the edge of a crowd. I get claustrophobic, I have panic attacks. And a lot of it is, even though I wasn't actually in that crush, it's because I imagine and I've dreamt and I've had illusions that I was. And that's all part of the illness. You know, you have illusions,
Yeah.
which are very scary. And it's hard to explain bipolar to anybody who hasn't got it, because everyone who's got it is different than the next person. Like, there's loads of famous people, like Mel Gibson, for instance, and the woman who played Princess Leia, say, Carrie Fisher, directly in Winston Churchill had it. But they're all different. How they have been affected is really different than the way I have. You know, one person has it the same. So it's hard to explain to anyone who doesn't know it, because it's so vast an illness. No one, even the psychologists, top psychiatrists, can't fucking explain it.
So what's the experience? Because in my view on it, it's you're either on a high, a massive high,
Yeah.
or a massive low.
Yeah, the high for me comes first.
What happens with that high?
If I'm doing really well, for instance, like after that play in Wales, when we put that play on about the boxers, I went high after that, not long after that, because I was on such a high from the play. I was drinking after the play. We were partying and everything was going great, and that's the worst time for me. That's when I have to really, now I know, but I didn't at the time, be careful when it's getting too good, you know, because getting too high on life can make me go over high. Next thing, I'm fucking punching doctors and getting dragged into meat wagons, and all hell breaks loose.
And as that happens to you, you've been arrested, you've had violence outbursts when you've been on this over high.
Because I want help, and I know it's coming. I know I'm gonna flip, and I'm saying to cops and I say to doctors, "Fucking help me! I'm gonna go. My heart's pounding here. I need help. Please help me before I flip. I don't want to hurt anybody." I tell them this. But you're going to have to wait it won't be long. And then, but you can't understand that at the time. You're like, fucking hell, you're getting more agitated and frightened. And in the end, you lash out. And I've lashed out on doctors. Cops have come in to arrest me, like 10 of them at a time. And it takes a while for them to restrain me sometimes, because you have this strength that you can't explain. It's an old cliche, the strength of 10 men, but believe me, when you're manic, you've got that strength. No, and you're not afraid of it. Mike Tyson, in his prime, could walk in the room. You wouldn't be afraid of him.
So, as that, you know, because I've read somewhere that you had an overdose and your mum walked in on you.
I was only young then. I was only 21, and I'd just done 6 months in hospital, in psychiatric hospital in Broad Green, and I come out and I was so low. That's when the low comes. See, you're talking about the high, that's before. The low for me comes after. So I come out of hospital, I was really low, and I thought, I'm never going to get out of this. I'm going to be like this forever. I don't want to go out. I was agoraphobic, frightened to go out the front door, pick the milk in, to go in the house. I don't want to be pals. The music, I love music. I didn't even want to play music. That's not me. And my sense of humour went, which is I love having. I didn't have that. Couldn't make anyone laugh. Make you cry, but couldn't make you laugh. So that's when I decided I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life. It's too much. And I decided to end it. I took an overdose, So when you could go out and buy pills, I went out and bought 500 pills and got a bottle of JD, fucking bump in my bedroom. And fortunately, my mum found me in the bathroom vomiting and rushed me to hospital, where I got my stomach pumped, and then I had to spend another bit of time in Aussie, But yeah, I regret that though, because I look at all the things that have happened since that day, that night. So many things have happened, good things. I mean, good people I've met. I've had my son, which was one of the greatest things in my life, to have a son, My son Kirk was born, so I would have missed all these beautiful things, if I'd have ended it all then. But you can't see it then, it's only hindsight. I think, thank God that didn't work. Yeah,
it's the same. I know exactly how you feel there, and I've been in them situations where I haven't wanted to wake up and I couldn't face reality, and I had this overwhelming fear and anxiety of just living, and I've wanted to end it, but I haven't had the courage to do it myself. So, I've done it on a daily basis with drugs, and I've stolen my mum's tablets. She had these dihydrocodeine 30 milligram tablets, and I took the bottle, and there was about 50 in it, and I took a lot. You know, and I didn't take them at the time to end anything. I just took them because I wanted to get out of my head. But I overdosed on that many.
Yeah.
You know, that my blood pressure went really high. I was young. I was 17 as well. You know, my mum see me, and I just walked it off. But there was many times when I've woke up in, you know, hospital, being in comas. I've had my stomach pumped as well.
Yeah. And you look back, I suppose, and you think, thank God it didn't work, innit?
In hindsight, I was just listening to what you said about all the beautiful things that, you know, life has to offer. But at that time, it's doom and gloom, and it's dark, and there's a cloud hovering above your head constantly, and you can't shift it, and you don't know which way to turn, and you think the best thing to do is to end it, because that's a full stop on life. Yeah. Like you said, I'm glad I never, you know, and I'd never ended it, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I know a few people that have done it, and I look back and I think, you know, I wish I could have maybe just spoke to them, you know, the night before, or the same day, and just tell them, look, I've been where you've been. You don't need to do this. You can't see, because I couldn't see when I done it what was down the road. You know, if you can just get that little message across to hang in. I think sometimes that's all it needs, someone just to say to you, just fucking hang in. You know? Yeah,
so you met a beautiful woman, had a beautiful son.
Yeah, been loads of lovely places all around the world, you know, beautiful countries, you know, the Caribbean, New York. I always wanted to go to New York. I've done New York, seen all the things I wanted to see in New York. You know, from all my gangster films I loved, you know, all these little locations. I've done all that. Twice to New York, with my son the second time. Went there the first time. Got engaged in New York as well, on the Rockefeller Ice Rink, the last place on earth everyone thinks I'd ever get engaged. You know, so, and Thailand, I've done Thailand with my mate this year. That was brilliant.
Well, you've been this year?
A month over there, yeah, we've done a month.
Is that the first time you'd been?
First time, yeah.
It's quite addictive, isn't it?
Oh, I loved it.
I loved it, mate. I loved it too long, to be fair.
Well, I got COVID over there, didn't I? So I had to isolate for 10 days. Nothing compared to obviously what yourself's been through, but it was still quite, for me, to be stuck somewhere for 10 days on my own. It was a bit daunting. But look, thankfully, there was first morning I woke up on this fucking room with just a mattress in it. I just got on the balcony, and it was on the edge of a jungle. And I just shouted, because they took me to the hospital first. It was like something out of BT, you know, with they had the visors on, all these like Thai people. And I just woke up in the morning and I just shouted at the top of my voice. I said, "Is anyone here from England?" And the next thing, this like Australian fella come out and he went, "Yeah, I speak English, mate." And then there was a couple of Yanks come out and went, "Yeah, we speak English, mate." And then everyone's Australian here, aren't they? Yeah. But a lad from Argentina come out, he spoke English, and so I had the company basically, you know. I had people to talk to, and that kept me going. If I never had them people on the balconies every day, passing food to each other and drinks as well, I think it would have been a lot harder for me with my condition, you know. Yeah. I know I had the phone and the FaceTime and a bit family and pals, but I needed that bit of company every day, especially the Austrian bird who was above. She was fucking gorgeous, this blonde. She kept me going, you know.
So don't...
Torture as well, being 2 balconies up, but you know, nevertheless, she was nice.
So that was a good day. That was a bit of that was an incentive to get up in the morning. And
yeah. She gave me reasons to wake up every morning. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. So what's been happening, you know, with your life, you know, since
all the fame and fortune?
Yeah.
Well, I got to a point where I found I was going for auditions and getting nowhere really. I was going all the way to London, getting down to the last 2. I was getting pissed off after a while, paying, you know, train fares to London and the back and not getting anywhere after 2 or 3 times. And I just thought, I can't be arsed anymore. I'd lost the passion, I think. I just didn't have that passion that I know a lot of actors have got now. I haven't got it. So I thought, I'm just going to work normal jobs, which I've done. I worked in a psychiatric hospital for the nearly last 2 years as a support worker, helping lads, you know, coming in who've got bipolar now, because I can relate to them, schizophrenia or autism, whatever, you know, they've got, even just like suicidal and stress, even if it's just stress, coming in. So that was good working there for a couple of years. And then I worked at Liverpool FC for 4 years as in hospitality. That was great, you know. I had a good laugh there with all the guys and girls. And at the moment, I'm just working in a theatre, on a bar. I'm just getting by, you know what I mean? As long as I've got enough to you know, buy a bit of clubber, take me lad out for a drink, go out with my pals when I want, I'm happy, and pay me bills. I don't ask about being a millionaire.
I know what it's like to the life of an actor. I did try at one point. I did went to acting classes. I thought, you know, I've been in a few movies here. I've had a movie made about me. I'm fucking Brad Pitt. I'm going to get a job here, no problem. And it didn't pan out like that. I know what exactly. You know, it was costing me more money.
Yeah.
To go to these classes. Then they were saying to me, you know, you need to get on Spotlight. I was like, what the fuck is Spotlight? No idea what that is.
Nightmare,
then you've got to get show reels. Then you got to pay people to do all this stuff. Know what I mean?
Photos and that.
Photos, a lot of things. This just costed me a fortune. Then the feeling of being typecast as an hard case or a scouser, couldn't get a job because of the accent. And you'd have to be in a Scouse movie. And there's not many of them about, to be honest.
It's all London. It's basically all London. You know what I mean? A lot of it's cast in London. Some are lucky here. You know, you could name a few who get it, but it's mainly done in London. And I think you've got to live in London to be around that scene. And I can't be asked anymore.
The first time I met you was it was going back a long time. Must have been about 10 years nearly now, or maybe just around about 10, maybe 8 years. And it was in a play in the Al Barcelona bar on Renshaw Street. Yeah. It was like an alehouse.
The alehouse, yeah.
Yeah, I went there. I think it was a work evening out, and we what Jake Abraham.
Jake was in it, yeah.
Jake was doing the stuttering.
And Phil Olivier, was he in it?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I've done that 5 times, that play. That's probably I think that was the last time we've done it, the 5th time we've done it. But yeah, we've done it. I've still got this cough from fucking COVID in Thailand.
Yeah.
From January. It's mad then, isn't it?
Yeah. Long COVID, lad.
Long COVID, you call it, yeah.
Keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be sharing that with me.
No,
yeah.
I keep testing negative.
So 5 times you've done that?
5 times we've done the alehouse. I love doing that play. It's just, it's different every time because we get a different cast. And it's never the same cast twice, you know what I mean? And everyone brings something new to it. I play the same character every time. Kick-off, KO, it's known as. He's just like the pub, which you get in most pubs, I think. The snarler, you know, and he walks in, he's looking at them, like weighing them up, you know, and waiting for that excuse to kick off, you know what I mean? So the whole hell break loose. Just a knobhead, basically. And that's who I play. KO, yeah. So, but I love it. I love playing them, you know.
You wrote that play?
Originally, 2 guys, Jimmy Power and Tony Furlong, who sadly passed away a few years back. They wrote Nightcollar, which was the taxi play, remember? That was the big one. And the alehouse was the second play. But yeah, no, I love that play, yeah. We have a good laugh doing that one, you know.
Yeah, would you ever get back into acting again? Is it so? You always said you lost your passion.
Yeah, I lost my passion more for the. It was just the letdowns. I couldn't. I probably 20 odd years ago, 30 years ago, I probably would have. You know, I had thicker skin. I think I could handle it. But as I've got older, I just can't be. I'm not chasing it anymore. You know, I see the way it's gone. I see the way there's not a lot for me. I'm just getting scraps, if that. I'm doing the odd short film. I do still do the odd short film. Normally, if it's someone I know, they'll say to me, George, I've got this short film. I'm a bit like a mercenary actor.
Yeah.
I say actor, don't I? Not really mercenary. But I'm a bit like a mercenary actor, where they'll pull me in for something, like, George, do you want to do this quick half-hour film, quick 20-minute short film, and I'll go in, I'll do it, and then I'll get off. I want to, you know what I mean? I say to them, I'll do it, but that's it. I'm not getting involved with all your publicity. Just fucking do it. I'm out.
Yeah, I went. I got like fed up because a few of the lads were always like getting in touch with me and asking me to do a few things with them, and then I got a message the other day or last week, sorry, saying would I be interested in playing this role, and if so, you know, would I do a shell tape? And I've never fucking done a shell tape, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're a nightmare, yeah. I've never got nothing off a self-tape.
So what I did do, right, is I looked at the lines that they sent over and thought, for a laugh, I'll do them, right? So I put my camera on the tripod, sat there, and it was like the first take. I read the lines, memorised them briefly, only needed a few to get going, and I was just the most relaxed I've ever been in doing it, thinking I can't be fucking arsed, they're not going to pick me anyway. Done it, sent it, and they were over the moon, right? And they casted me for it, and I got the role, and I'm filming next week. So it's a feature film as well, which is getting touted in film festivals and stuff, I believe. And I'm working with established actors, so that was quite lucky.
That's good because I've got sod all off them self tapes.
Yeah, but I think
loads, and they just ain't nothing because they can't really see what you're like. It's not like me and you sitting here now looking at each other and talking. You can gauge each other, but in them they're just looking at you probably on a laptop. I just don't think they get a good idea of what you really like.
Yeah,
so I think for you to get that, it's really good.
I was quite surprised, to be honest.
Now, I'm just getting nothing.
No, but you're enjoying your job you're doing in a theatre.
I'm getting by, you know what I mean, and I'm in the scene. You know, there's actors coming in, and some of them obviously think you know it all. Like I just keep quiet, you know, and just listen. But no, they're a good crowd, nice crowd, and there's always a production on, and comedians are coming in. What's his name from St Helens?
Johnny Vegas.
He done the first night.
I met Johnny,
and so he got the place going, you know what I mean. So it's a good vibe and nice people, you know. As much as I love the working in the hospital, it was for someone like me. Just a couple of years was just right, you know, because I started then taking it home with me a little bit, thinking about what people had said. Because there's a lot of sadness working in a place like that, as you can imagine. And I just thought, I'll get out now while I'm all right. I don't want to get myself over stressed there and upset. Because I take it to heart. Some people can do it and maybe forget about it when you go to bed. I can't. I think about what the lads have been saying to me and been through.
See, this is where, right, this is something that's been, you know, with me for years. You know, the trauma, the stuff that I've witnessed and seen and experienced, and the austerity and the conditions I've placed myself in, right? And people say to me, how did you get through it? How did you survive, right? And I think, look, I just kept breathing. I just got up, turned up, kept breathing. Some days I didn't want to face reality, and I think 99% of the time I suppressed reality with some kind of narcotics. So I was in some stupor most of the time, right? So I was a fucking sleep for most of my senses. Didn't really see much of it. There was brief glimpses of reality, which I didn't kind of like to face, you know. And then you get through the trauma, and people say, well, how have you not like sort of lost the plot? How have you stayed like sane? And I think, well, do you know what? This is my philosophy on life. We're only here once, right? We're blessed with a few short decades, George, right? There's no time like that now, right? If we want to start living in the past, which I have done, or we want to start living in the future, which is not even here, and start living in that anxiety about what's not happening, then we're not focusing on the moment. And I know I'm talking like Eckhart Tolle, power and now stuff here, and you know, all the kind of Buddhism gear. But no, I've got to a stage in my life where I think, you know what, it is what it is. I'm okay today, you know, and I'm grateful to be above ground. And like yourself, right? If I look back at what I'd experienced, the near-death experiences, the overdoses, the suicide on a daily basis by taking drugs and not knowing what I'm taking, you know, injecting them, snorting them, drinking, the lot. It didn't matter. I was piling it all on. Right. Look at me today, and I look at yourself, right? I've got a lovely little family. I've got a beautiful baby boy. Never in a million years thought I'd have. Like he's running around like a son age at the minute, and you know, he's screaming and swinging off the blinds, but it's great.
Yeah,
I love it. And all that would never have happened, right, if I'd never just picked myself up, dusted myself down and gone, okay, mate, just carry on.
Yeah.
Breathe and move forward. How is it with you now? I know that, you know, you still struggle with the claustrophobic, you know, being panic around attacks, people, panic attacks, the anxiety. Where do you think all that comes from, mate? Have you ever like looked at it and said to yourself, what the fuck's going on for me?
I've learned to put to deal with everything now, more or less. Like I'll start with everything, right? With the reason I don't go, I haven't been in hospital now for nearly, I think it's 9 years, right? For me, it's the longest I've gone in my life since 21. 9 years now without going in hospital. And the reason I haven't been in hospital is very, very simple. Well, it's not simple, but it is the way I'll say it. But it hasn't been simple doing it. When I was last in hospital, I spoke to this doctor. And I said to him, it was the last night in the hospital, and I knew he was a good doctor. I said to him, listen, doc, I said, I've been in these fucking places 5 times now. I said, I can't handle a 6th. There won't be a 6th. I'll end it before I have a 6th. I said, I don't want to put my family and myself through this shit again. And he said to me, right, okay. He said, it's very simple, George, really. He said, look at that. He didn't tell me what to do, but he put it in my head. He said, see that guy over there? I went, yeah. He said, he'll get out of here tomorrow. And he'll go home and he'll snort fucking so much coke for the next 6 months. He'll be back in here in 6 months.
Yeah.
He said, see that woman over there? She's going to get out of here and going to drink herself fucking every night for the next year or so. She'll be back in. And he went right through everybody. And he just put it in my head that if I carry on doing what I do, because I took drugs as well and I drank. So I just said to myself, right, when I get out, I'm going to stop drinking and I'm going to stop drugs. And it was hard because all my family drink and my pals all drink and certain pals take certain drugs. So I knew it was never going to be easy because I'm going to be around these people all the time. But over the course of, it took me a good, almost a year maybe of, I'd try and then I'd end up slipping a bit. I'd get pissed because it'd be birthday or something. And then I'd feel like shit for weeks and weeks. My heart would be pounding. And it just got to a point where now I don't drink. I just go out, I'll have a little shandy maybe. Yeah, but I'll always say to the barmaid, just do me a favour, love, put that 3/4 lemonade, just a little bit of lager at the top. So I'm only having a little taste of it. I'm never pissed. I haven't been pissed in about 9 years since I had Aussie, more or less. So I don't do all them silly things for me, because other people can do it.
Yeah.
Wrong. Other people I know can get pissed and there's no problems. But for me, it don't work. So it puts me in hospital. Eventually, after say 4 years or 5 years, I end up, my body or mind more or less can't handle it. Yeah. So I had to sacrifice these things I enjoyed. Now that is the main reason I've not been in hospital. I know it because the point's there. It's not. I've not gone back.
There's the proof in the pudding. Yeah, it's similar. Like I remember being in rehab years ago, and I had a similar experience where I'm sat in this group setting, and there's this counsellor, and he's looking at us, and he's saying to us, he said, you know, look to the left, and then look to the right. He said, one of yous, right, is going to die from this illness, this addiction. One of yous is going to be in addiction all your life, and you'll probably die a junkie. And one of yous are going to have like a 45% chance, maybe less, of getting through and staying clean and being in recovery. And I just looked to the left, and then I looked to the right and thought, fuck you too. See you later. I just went, I'm going to have this. Because I didn't want to be that one, right, who was in addiction all my life dying a junkie. I didn't want to be that one who was dying well before his time. And I thought, if there's a little bit of a chance here, and a bit of a percent here, I'm having it. And I've done that, and I took it. You know, like yourself, it hasn't been easy. I've had a few slips on the way. Yeah,
you can't just knock everything on the head, you know. It's impossible, I think. So gradually, you know, over the course of a year or so, I got my head around it. And as I say, it's hard when everyone else is getting pissed around you. Or you're going on a stag weekend in fucking Benidorm, and everyone's getting hammered, and you're sitting there with a 0% Sol, San Miguel. It's
a different vibe, innit?
Yeah.
It's a different vibe. I mean, did you believe that like alcohol and drugs played a major role in your mental well-being?
and when I look back, you know, it was, I mean, it's like smoking the weed. I mean, I used to smoke that when I was younger every day, and I'd done it because I was quite hyperactive. That used to calm me down. I used to have a joint purely not to get high or fucking, you know, bounce around the house. It was to calm me down, to relax me, you know, because I was quite hyperactive when I was 16, 15, 16, 17. I was quite hyper, and so I used to have that to calm me, mellow me, put a bit of Floyd on, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That seems to be the vibe back then. I used to smoke spliffs like Ziggy's. Used to roll them the night before. I'll just have them in a 20 Regal king size box. You know what I mean? Loads of them, and I'll just spark them up. And it was just, I don't even think he ever got stoned in the end. You know, it got to a point where it was normalised. And even like taking drugs like cocaine, you know, I could go and have a line or whatever, and then the next thing, straight away, I could have a Big Mac. You know, and usually you can't eat, it suppresses your appetite. But for me, when you start using that amount of drugs and your body gets used to it.
Yeah, well,
you manage to do them things without batting an eyelid, know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was catastrophic in the end for me. Some people don't get me wrong, I'm not against anyone that smokes it for whatever reason now.
No.
It's each to his own. But for me personally, it just done me no good in the end. I knew it. It was just, it was sending me too paranoid in the end. And that's when I would fucking end up not long again in hospital. If things weren't going great at the time, or I was too high at the time, and I was smoking that, it was playing with my head. And I just had to
go. You know what, mate? I don't know anyone who doesn't agree with me on this one, right? I fucking love drugs, right? I love them, right? I'd love to smoke cannabis, I'd love to snort Charlie, I'd love to bevy all day long. I loved it, right? Yeah. What I didn't love was the consequences, the pain, the misery, the outcome, the getting arrested numerous times, the spending years in and out of prison. Yeah, this is so, you know, something you love, like you've said, you've got to give it up, right? And then you'll realise that your life becomes much better, and you evolve as a person, and you be, you know, with a clearer, you know, clarity, mental side of your thinking. You seem to get through and understand that although you do love it, there's a consequence. So you can play the tape a little bit forward and go, all right, if you have that, I'm going to go down, and my relationship's going to end. I'm going to end up on a prison roof writing about EastEnders because I don't like it on the fucking telly. You know what I mean? I've done it. I've climbed on roofs and complains about Emmerdale Farm being on fucking ITV all the time. It was shit. And, you know, moans about stuff that didn't even, like, were quite irrelevant, really.
Yeah, no, it's only years on. I look back and I know, all right, it was, as you say, it's great at the time, but... You know, and if I could go back, would I do it all again? Don't know. I don't think I think I'd live with it. If you ask me that, I think I would live differently now, though. You know, when I look back at some of the hell that has actually happened and been family I've had to go through as well, I think I'd have to say I'd fucking live differently. You know, live it more carefully. Yeah.
I mean, if I could use drugs without a consequence, I would. Certainly. Definitely. Today, right now, I'll go and score. Right, you can come with me. But it doesn't work like that, George. So, you know, and I know, it piles on me like it does yourself. And I love talking on this kind of topic because a lot of people feel that, you know, they go through life and there's no way, you know, they have these issues and problems just because of life responsibilities. When in reality, it's accumulated over the years by getting intoxicated or taking drugs that don't agree with you, and they make you anxious, or they make you angry, or they make you volatile. And with that, you know, with that behaviour becomes the guilt and the shame. So you're piling on a lot of other stuff, a lot of feelings that go with it. I've realised this over the years. If I take drugs, I feel guilty about it. Then I'm hiding, and then I'm being secretive and manipulative, and then it just becomes a big volatile world of like shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that I can't escape from it. So it affects me mental health as well. So when I've sat in front of counsellors, right? I think, fucking hell, mate, you're trying to counsel me? You're the one who needs fucking work, mate. There's something wrong with you. Yeah. Because most of these counsellors, and I'll say it how it is, most of these counsellors, right, are on a bend. That's the truth, right? They've had problems that have affected them, and they're trying to look for solutions in talking to other people, and that might work, you know. But when you've got that feeling of more than, and you're sitting there, because you're obviously going to be feeling less than in front of someone who's equipped with the skills, or you feel that they're equipped with skills to communicate and convey a message of hope, because that's what you're fucking on. You've got the answers here. I've sat there, mate, and I thought the best advice I've got is the one I'm going to give myself.
Yeah.
Right, and you've given it to yourself by the sounds of it.
No,
right?
No one. I don't. You know, who's give me better advice than any psychiatrist, any psychologist, any of them fuckers, right? The best advice I get is from my family and my friends.
Yeah.
They've helped me more than
the
anybody.
people that love you.
Yeah, people that really love me and are close to me. They've helped me more than any doctor. Except that one doctor that night in there, Aussie, when he told me about the other patients. But I can't remember one conversation with any doctor besides him, psychiatrist, that's helped me more than my own family and friends.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who come into hospitals constantly to see me, hugging me, telling me they love me, telling me I'm going to be all right. That's
telling you the truth, lad. Telling you the truth, right? Because, you know...
Telling me I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, and that's all you need. And, you know, my mum used to always say to me, and you've probably heard this one yourself, like, what's wrong with you? Billy, what's wrong with you? I fucking don't know. I don't know. I didn't know. What the fuck's wrong with you? I don't know, man. Because it didn't. I didn't have a clue what was going on for me, you know. And I'm just grateful, like yourself, to be in a position now to be able to talk candidly and open and honest about how I feel. And I read, you know, you opened up about your illness.
I had to in the end. I'd been quiet for 30 odd years. No one knew except my family and friends. No fucking knew. So I thought to myself, I know so much because of what I've been through. I've got to pass on this knowledge. I've got to do it somehow. I've got to pass it on to help others who are in the same boat as me when I was, say, 21 or even younger now, innit? Like kids are suffering who don't understand what's happening to them. So I thought, I want to pass this knowledge on. I've got to do it. And I started doing it therapeutically. Started writing little chapters for the book. I wrote a chapter here, a chapter there. It was all spread out everywhere. That's why the book's a bit muddled up, because it was never in order. It was more like a spontaneous, what I felt like writing. That's
the best way to write, by the way.
Yeah, that's how I've kind of done it. And it didn't start from high. I was born in Liverpool on such a date, and fucking near I am here now at the end. I didn't want it in order, so I just done it as bits. Sent it out to various characters to read bits of it, and they were coming back saying they really enjoyed reading it, carry on, give me the encouragement that I kind of needed. Finished it, sent it to a big load of different publishers, and about 3, I think, come back wanting to take it. I couldn't believe it. I was quite shocked, thinking, bloody hell, there's 3 publishers here, wasn't it? But I went with the mental health publishers because I thought they'd be the best to, because I found out the publisher had bipolar. So I thought, these are got ideal, and they're going to understand where I'm coming from. I went with them. It wasn't there was other publishers offering more money, but I like the idea of these, you know. So we got it out. We got it printed, basically, put it on Amazon, and I was reading the reviews just through the day. Because I don't really like reading the reviews, because I read, maybe there's 100 good reviews saying great book, what a guy George is, yeah. But then there might be one review saying, what a shit book, you know, what a fucking worst book I've ever read.
That's normal.
That stays in my head. The other great reviews on that, but you know.
That's normal, lad.
Fucking one will piss me off. Yeah. So that's why I don't really read. But anyway, someone said, oh, you started reading them out to me during the night, so I was listening to them and that. So, and the proof is, it has, people are saying that it's helped them, or the brother, or the mother, the son, the daughter, whatever. So
you've inspired someone by, you know, writing that book.
It's done what I wanted it to do, yeah.
What's it called?
From Grange Hill to bipolar and back. I had to throw the and back in to show that you can come back. It's not the over.
Oh, well, I'll put all that in the description, your book and stuff. And I know exactly how you feel, because I was a big one on reading reviews on Amazon. And I turned into something like fucking Liam Neeson in taking when I'd see some mad comment, lads, I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you are, lad? You don't even know me. Where do you live? you know, and it's like you forget about the 99 positive comments. Now it's the same. It's like you develop a bit more of a tougher skin over the years. You know, you can't have like an oversensitive ego and take things personal. People have got opinions, and opinions are like assholes. We've all got one. All the best, nice one. Right, get in your queue with your name call, and not being called all kinds, mate. It's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I always knew that not everyone's gonna.
Not everyone's cup of tea, are we?
No, someone's gonna fucking hate you for.
I'll tell you something now, right, George. I met you, right, and I'll tell you my first impression. If you want me to be honest, my first impression of you, right. Oh. Now, I everyone was calling. I thought I was Shane Airy at this event, this alehouse. I was at, right, the fucking Shane Airy, aren't you? I was in recovery, by the way. You know, they were all pissed. You're Shane Airy, lads. You're Shane, aren't you? I was going, no, I'm not. You know, mate. You're not. Come and get a drink. Now, if I was fucking that way inclined, and I was Shay, and I was Bevy, and I'd have been pissed all night long, right? Yeah. But then I spoke to you, and I remembered you from like Grange Hill, and I thought, I'll get a picture with you and all that. And I just got this feeling that you were quite arrogant towards me, right? And I thought, he's a cheeky. Fucking can't stand him, you know what I mean? I remember that I said, and it always stuck with me. Then I saw you not so long ago, and I had a different vibe with you. Yeah, you know, it was nice. I think what had happened, what happens is you're on that high, you finish that show, you just want to get on with your life. You know, you just want to get on with your evening. You know. Yeah. Has anyone ever said that to you?
Normally I'm alright though with photos. I'm normally not arsed, you know what I mean?
No, you only don't know where you are, mate. Wait there, lad. Wait, mate. Get in the queue there, lad, for that photo.
Was it? Come on, lad. I know. You sure it wasn't me? And
it was you, lad.
It was not the priest.
I went home feeling shit about myself and everything. I was going to write a letter to the Pope and complain and fucking everyone. And
that sounds more
you
like
were a bastard. And
sounds more like the guy who played the priest or something, you know. Not me.
I was gonna. There was a status on Facebook about 9 years ago, fucking ripping you. I don't know if it's still there. No, it wasn't. No, but you know, it's. I've said that the same about Tony Bellew. You know, I remember like thinking he was dead arrogant and all that, and then I met him, and then we worked together, and he shot.
I've never met him, but I went to some boxing event in that one next to the Grafton, the
Olympia. Yeah,
it used to be Soames, wasn't it? But yeah, there was a boxing event on before the lockdown, so a few years ago, and he was there, and I thought similar to like you. I always think he's a bit maybe arrogant, although I've never met him. But what he was doing after the fights, he was walking all around the crowd, just getting photos with all the kids, and women, and you know, people, whoever he wanted his photo basically, and signing stuff. And I was thought, no, that's nice. He didn't have to do that because he was in the VIP bit.
Yeah,
but he come out to go out with all the regular people.
I've realised over the you know, the time I've known him, he's an absolutely lovely, humble guy, you know, and he means well for the city. He's all about the kids. His agenda's clear. He's transparent. So, you know, I've actually sat down and we've had meetings, and I thought, you know what, my view on people, right, who are in on social media is quite different when they're sitting next to you. It's quite odd, isn't it? You know, because you put people on pedestals and you think, he doesn't think he is, and you know, and I think most of it was just jealousy.
Yeah.
Jealousy and envy.
Yeah. That's 9 out of 10 problems I've had in my life with people outside, in the public, I mean, is jealousy. You know, it's just jealous of you. Do you still get that? The Ziggy shout? Sometimes you get the chant, Ziggy, you know? Yeah. Yeah. But someone should take that as a compliment, you know, that they still fucking remember you.
Because it's been how long, lad? It's been about fucking 40 years, hasn't it?
85 I went in it. You're 35 years, is it?
Yeah, now for someone to still remember you, you've got to be proud of that, you know what I mean? Fucking Ziggy, yeah, that's me. Yeah. Change your fucking name, George, to Ziggy. Just stick with Ziggy, lad, you know what I mean? And then that's it, that's my name, you know what I mean?
I know. No, I don't mind. It is. I take it as a compliment.
I still get called Billy Bullshitter and fucking Billy No Mates and Billy Liar and fucking all that bollocks, you know. Billy was a bad name to have as a kid. Billy the Fish, remember that? Yeah, the Fish. Yeah. Oh, mate, I got called all kinds. Shit splashed, the loft, fucking ugly bastard. So it's great to be, you know, a dickhead's just, it's quite normal now.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's nice to be remembered. You know, it is what it is, and it's gone calmer now. Most people that kind of recognise me is, I'd say, from the ages of 42 to about 60. Say, you know,
old people.
Yeah. So what's great is all the young crowd. You know, the big gangs wandering around. I haven't got a clue who I am.
Yeah.
So it's great. I'm not getting that shit off anyone anymore. I'm gonna fucking, you know, square up in the middle of Tuebrook.
Yeah.
So it's just nice that I can go out. No one really. You might get the odd. You used to be in Grange Hill, and and it's just all nice. It's no big, you know, big fucking meathead wants to fucking take me out.
No,
you know.
But it's good. It's nice. It's and it's incredible that you've actually got the opportunity to write a book. You know, from Grange Hill to bipolar.
Yeah, and I didn't put it all serious neither.
And
I didn't want it all
Yeah.
doom and gloom. And this is the way it is. It's a bad life, having it, because it's not. There is good times. You
And
know
how
what I mean?
long's this been out now, George?
Laughter. That's what I've tried to put in it.
Yeah.
It's been out. I got it out just before the lockdown. So what? About 3 years, say.
Yeah, brilliant.
3 years. Yeah, because I had to sell them all during the lockdown because we just finished at Liverpool, couldn't work. So to get by, I had to sell all the books myself. They're on Amazon, but I wasn't getting paid till the end of the year. So that's what I done for the lockdown, the first one. Just sold loads of books on Facebook, on eBay, you name it. Just
And they all went.
sending them out, signing them. Yeah, sold a good
Because
few thousand.
you got a good fan base still, haven't you, Grange Hill from?
Yeah, there's fans from all over
There's
the place.
There's a podcast called the Grange Hill Podcast as well, I believe.
Sausage on a Fork.
Yeah, I think it's one of the head teachers in I don't know whether it's for Zachary or Barlow's who.
Yeah, Neil Mattox.
Yeah.
His name is. He's done me. He interviewed me at Christmas. He put me on the Christmas special, but he's got about 10 of us. Yeah,
Yeah,
about an hour long. Yeah,
he teaches my kids in school.
does he?
Yeah,
Neil, yeah.
it's a mad one. I've never met him, but he did mention
Yeah,
he does that.
he
So
loves it. Yeah,
sausage on a fork.
sausage on a fork. Good name. He has a sausage on a fork, as his picture on the podcast. You know,
Yeah, he's right.
quite clever. But he's got a lot of the big hitters. He's got Samo, or he's getting him. He's just got Roland. He's got Mrs. McCluskey, which is I put him into her because me and her done Celebrity Pointless a few years ago.
Mm.
So I had we keep in touch on the WhatsApp. She's a lovely woman. So I'm trying to get him John Alford because he's still a good pal.
I like John. I like he was the pretty one, really, the young blonde kid.
Yeah, he used to do me head in, and he was too good looking, and I'm his mate. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you were his best mate, weren't you? And
Yeah,
you were like just the cheeky scouser.
yeah.
Brilliant.
But no, he's a good lad, John. Yeah, we've kept close, and you're the big guy with the red hair, John Drummond.
Yeah.
Trevor, he's a funny guy. We're very, very close. So there's about 10 of us, I reckon, who keep in touch. You know, some of them even as far as New Zealand. One of the girls, Ruth, who played Helen, she was involved with the donkey with me and all that. You know, it was a bit embarrassing at the time, wandering around with donkeys.
Brilliant.
But she lives in New Zealand. Yeah, she keeps in touch. When she comes over, we try and arrange something in London, and we all have a meet. You know, with the cast. And have a little drink.
That's nice. Little reunion.
I have my shandy.
Yeah, well done. So I've enjoyed this little interview, mate. It's been really informative. You know, I think we help each other. People, you know, need to understand that when we communicate, we're sharing, you know, and identifying and relating, and that's what it's about. This is the podcast. This is what my podcast is about. Not it's about ego or narcissism or the big I am, or trying to, you know, pretend you're someone you're not. And the reality is we've all suffered, you know, we've all been, it's not about suffering, it's also about like the joys that we get in life as well.
Yeah.
You know, so what is it that you do? Like, how was your life today?
Today's probably as good as it's ever been. I can do everything I could do when I was younger, but I just take it easier. You know, like the Eagles, take it easy.
Yeah.
I just take it easy. I've got my son, who's having a son, so I'm going to be a granddad in the next 2 weeks.
Wow! Congratulations.
She's due any day, in the next couple of weeks. So that I'm really looking forward to that, being a granddad and taking him out and teaching him the things I taught my son and what my dad taught me. You know.
I can't teach my son what I was taught. He ends up locked up.
Yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to that, and I'll just stick to my little job, I get by, I
Yeah.
go out when I want, I can still go out, I don't have to get pissed. I know this now. I don't have to get off my head. I know that now. I can enjoy myself just as much and have just as much a good laugh.
Totally agree, mate.
You know, I can laugh more now because I can see everything that's going on.
The progression. Do you know what, right, George? So we come to the end of the podcast, but what I always say at the end of every podcast is, right, you know, as a pearl of wisdom, what would you say, right, to a young George Wilson walking through the doors of life now? If you had the opportunity to see you walk through those doors and you could share a bit of guidance or advice or life skills, what would you say?
I'd say what I didn't do at the time, which is listen to your closest people around you as they look out for you more than anyone.
Brilliant. And with that, thank you very much.
Cheers, pal.
Thank you.